I often see new players to Morrowind asking what are the best races in the game. Today I'm going to give you the definitive answer. Before I start, let's go over the criteria that I used for the rankings. Number 1, passive resists. Number 2, maximum health. Endgame health is partially determined by a race's starting strength and endurance. Number 3, max run speed. Run speed is based off of a race's weight attribute. Number 4, equipment availability. Number 5, active racial abilities. And number 6, appearance and coolness. Let's start with the worst races first. The worst race in the game is definitely Kiji. There's no reason to play a Kiji from a meta perspective unless you enjoy role-playing as a cat. Khajiits have no passive resists, and since they are a beast race, they can't wear boots and can't wear most helmets. Their active abilities, Night Eye and Demoralize Humanoid, are nothing special and can be acquired as spells later in the game. Being a beast race, Argonians are also in the F tier. Similar to the cats, Argonians can't wear boots, and they can't wear a lot of headgear. Argonians, however, have a 100% resistance to poison, which is good, but very few enemies in the game use poison damage, so it's not a huge deal. Their active ability, Water Breathing, is nothing special and is easy to acquire in the game as a spell. I know this next one's going to be controversial, but I would put High Elves in the D tier. High Elves have a 150% bonus to Magicka, which is nice but really not very useful once you are experienced in the game. It's very easy to make Restore Magicka potions, and most spells can be made as enchantments. And enchantments are generally better than the spell variants because they don't cost Magicka and they're instant cast. One thing that is very harmful for High Elves is they have a negative 50% resistance to magic and fire, and they have a negative 25% resistance to ice and shock. The High Elf character models in Morrowind also look extremely bad, so there's no reason to play a High Elf. Also in the D tier are the Wood Elves. Wood Elves have the lowest maximum health of any race because they have the lowest starting strength and endurance. They also have the lowest run speed because their character models have the lowest weight. They don't have any negative passives and have a 75% resist to disease, which is not very useful because it's very easy to cure diseases. Their active ability, Command Creature, is not very useful and can be acquired as a spell. Male Wood Elves have the worst appearance model in the game, but the female models look okay. So next, I'll put Imperials in the C tier. Imperials have no negative or positive passives. They have a decent starting strength and endurance value, and are tied for second in terms of weight, so they have a high run speed. Imperials have the highest personality stat, so you can do some fun builds with them, such as a pacifist playthrough pretty easily. Their active ability to drain fatigue is decent, but not great. Overall, Imperials are very average in everything. The first race that we have in the B tier are Orcs. Orcs have very high starting endurance and strength, so they have high max health. They are the heaviest race in the game, so they have the highest run speed. Orcs have a passive 25% resistance to Magicka damage, which is nice but not amazing. I'm not a big fan of their active ability, Berserk Rage, because it drains your agility by 100. Orcs make good warriors, but there are other races that are better at it. The next race, which is also in B tier, are Bretons. Bretons have a 50% resistance to magic damage, and an extra 50% Magicka bonus. Their active ability, Dragon Skin, is good because it boosts shield by 50 for a minute. The only downsides to Bretons are they have low starting endurance and strength, so they have very low health. If you are new to the game and want to play a mage, then I would recommend picking a Breton because they don't really have any major weaknesses, and they have pretty good starting attributes for magic characters. Another race that is also in the B tier are the Dark Elves. Dark Elves have a solid 75% resistance to fire damage and no negative passives. Dark Elves have decent starting strength and endurance, so their max health is pretty average. Their active ability, Ancestor Guardian, is pretty solid because it increases Sanctuary by 50. Dark Elves are also the native inhabitants of Morrowind, so they can be kind of fun to play from a roleplay perspective. Red Guards are going to be an A tier. Red Guards are tied for having the highest starting health because they have the highest starting strength and endurance. They have a 75% resist to poison and disease, which is nice but not too useful. Their active ability, Adrenaline Rush, is the best active ability in the game because it increases most attributes by 50. Red Guards have the strongest start of any race and are great if you want to do a low-level challenge or a level 1 challenge. I would recommend a Red Guard for any new player to Morrowind that wants to play a warrior. I mentioned that Red Guards have the strongest start, but the last race, Nords, have the strongest finish. Nords have a 100% resistance to frost and a 50% shock resistance. Nords can reach 100% resistance to all magic damage easily. They are tied with Red Guards in terms of max health because they have the highest starting strength and endurance. Also, Nords are the second fastest character race in Morrowind because they have a very high weight stat. If you want to min-max your character and create a meta build in Morrowind, then I would recommend playing a Nord, which is why I put them in S tier. Morrowind is not a very hard game after you learn the basics, and any race can beat the game without difficulty. I recommend picking whatever race is fun. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my rankings in the comments.